Thanks for staying with us. I have a caller, Samuel. Thanks for calling, Samuel. You're live.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
Ladies of your view, yeah. Quick one. Nyma, I want to agree with you this morning. Honestly, I agree with your submission. This morning. You see, one thing I hate most in life is sentiment. Let us not put sentiment in this matter of minor. Nyma, you made a statement. You said where were these governors when these children are coming out for protest? The governor of Kano State, if not for immunity, that man should have been arrested for propagating that protest in the first place. These children were around going on about looting, destroying property. If I have a child that I train at home, I talk to him every time for not doing a wrong thing. At the age of 7 or 8, and he went out for this kind of a thing, I will allow them to punish him. Honestly speaking, let's remove the sentiment. This is what encourages all this criminality in this country. Because we have too much emotion on minors. They're supposed to take training, we train them, and they refuse. That's the consequence. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So I was making a point about the system. So an Alimajiri system was a system of education,
yeah.
But it's been abused by the North largely, because now I just have to born children, I can marry any number of wives, the children, I will just send to any malam under the guise of religion. Whether the malam has the means, whether I pay, whether the child actually learns is none of my business. And I will walk and see the child on the street. We've seen videos of these children begging on the street, and no state government up north, I'm saying it with, I want any state government who has a clear plan of how this will stop, come out. When the former Emir Sanusi was removed by the former governor of Kano State, it was because he was calling out the system for the failures that this was causing. Yeah. He says, turn the religious houses, the mosque where they are supposed to learn, turn it to education, to schools. Yeah. Between the morning prayers, Subuhi, to the 2 o'clock prayers, let the children be learning and free their minds. I tell you boldly, what we knew then as children is if you could memorize the Quran, you do well academically in any subject because you know how to focus. And so most parents would insist their children finish learning and then still go to school. But why did we now leave this large number of children to the advantage of all these nation destroyers?
Let me take this call from Festus. It's calling from Agege. You're live.
Morayo.
Yes, sir.
Hello,
I miss it.
Ami, sir.
Don't look at the quota they give it to you now. Don't look at the quota they give to you now. You can see a step more than this. Tomorrow is so much new. Don't take that. Speak the truth. You are speaking the truth. You are speaking the truth because you are giving this position now. Please, we are suffering. We are hungry. And who is hungry, he must be angry. I take God bless you.
Thank you. I didn't hear what he said.
He was praying for you and saying that you should continue in your path.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Festus. So I'll come to you, Soko, in a second, because I want us to establish and be clear we're all on the same page. Based on the law, which is what Damilola gave to us, the law provides that a child under 7 is not criminally responsible for any act or omission. And a child under the age of 12 is not criminally responsible for an act or omission unless it is proved that at the time of doing the act or making the omission, he had the capacity to know he ought not to. So it means that if the police or the lawyers are able to establish that these children who are 12, 10, 13, whatever, are able to understand, they knew what they were doing by carrying the Russian flag, and they actually committed the act of treason, they could be liable. So that is established. So our conversation is not about them being arrested or not being arrested for treason. The issue is their treatment. Are they their treatment, or should they have been detained for that long as minors?
As an adult,
and what caused them? That's the conversation. So we're all clear about saying the same thing.
Okay, so we're not actually all saying the same thing, because one is, for you to be liable for an offense that you committed, you need to understand that what you did was an offense.
Yes.
So if you were given, if they were given a flag and promised food for
just waving it around,
they cannot be punished for waving because they did not understand.
Let the law determine that.
But what I'm saying is, the law will determine it. But the point is, if the process that we have, the system we currently run, in order for you to determine that a 15-year-old, or let me use 13, a 13-year-old boy was, if you asked him and he said he was paid to hold this flag and run around the streets, you caught him with the flag, you arrested him, and you have held him for 3 months to prove that he is conscious of holding the flag. And he's being detained with hardened criminals. So by the time he comes out, even though he did not know before going into prison a few things about criminality, now he understands how to get his life better, the ways he can do it, the opportunities that are available for him to do it. So my thought is, you asked the question, what could they have done better? Expedite the process.
Yes.
The least that can be done, even if those, the truth is, our children are far more aware than we were when we were growing up. A 13-year-old right now might actually know a whole lot about what treason is based on knowledge. He might have been indoctrinated, he might have been convinced. We've had children that were strapping bomb and blowing up people. So if you are able to prove that this person, do it fast. Let's sift out the wheat from the shaft. These are the ones that are criminal intent, and these are just the pawns. And who is using these boys and who used them? We use a way to find them. We run a court system that people can negotiate, still big money. Then you will repatriate the fund and do what they call that stuff, where you negotiate because you are able to, you do a plea bargain. So the system has plea bargain. If these boys can claim and lead you to the people that gave them the flag, and you can now use them as a proof to get the real guys.
The process is ongoing.
What I'm saying is the process is taking so long, and the system is burdened because there's a budget to ensure they are eating, the lawyers are getting paid for every time they show up in court, the judges, the system should be more efficient so that we get to justice early enough before we do more damage in that process.
Because this is something we see all the time.
Yes. So the justice is slow. The justice is slow, and it is expensive. So one thing I expect is make the justice system faster. Number two is, when you even want to bring the boys to court, because you want to make them, you value human life, and you understand that these people are human beings. They might have even committed a crime, but we should treat them with respect. The way you will bring them, those children, the way they were brought into court, it does not sell the government's image at all. Yeah. And so there are many people whose heads should roll, from the custodial facility, the customs, to the police themselves, who all the statements I've heard from our Nigerian police force has been defending and excusing what we saw, which did not look good. There's no... It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good, or it doesn't...
It's not good.
It's not good, and it doesn't look good.
It doesn't help. My worry, the president tells us renewed hope. And I always hold on to that phrase, because I expect that it trickles down. It's one thing to say, I'm giving you renewed hope. And I'm showing it in different ways, where the senators, the National Assembly members, the ministers, the appointees, everybody has renewed hope in their mindset. Does the police have the renewed hope mindset, such that when you are arraigning minors, how do we show that how do we show dignity in humanity? So especially when it comes to children, people must be able to see that there's something different in the system. There's something different in the governance. There's something different in how we treat each other. What was seen in the courtroom, how the children collapsed, the reaction, there was nothing renewed. There was no hope renewed in that act. And it's important that all the various aspects of governance, including law enforcement, must begin to retrace their steps to ensure that we are all aligned to giving hope to Nigerians. Because the only way I can believe in this system is when I see those little things you're doing, that you're changing your mindset. The things should not be done the way it was done in the past. So people must understand, if we're really pushing for renewed hope, across board, we must see that something has been renewed in the system. Let me jump in, Damilola.
What I would just like to say is that the president is one person, and I can always want to say that it is only him that knows himself. I beg to differ that he might not know his wife as much as he thinks he does know her. So they're bound to be divided. Now that's a family unit. Let's now bring it down to different people of different race, different tribe, different descent. You might decide to go to Ibadan with somebody, and you want to take Lagos-Ibadan Express Road, and the person insists on taking Abeokuta Old Road. You both want to go to Ibadan, but your means and your ways are different. So if you do not realize that the means that we want to journey through is different, it will be difficult. Yes, everybody wants to go to Ibadan. Everybody wants the renewed hope. But how many people want it to be swift, to be fast, and to be efficient, or to be short before we travel down this renewal? We've been here before the Renew Hope came. I think it was the Hope of 1993. What was it? So that one was just, I think it was latched upon.
Warriors was very catchy.
Change.
Jonathan was a breath of fresh air. Either way, as at that time, we also felt stifled, even when it was. So my point is, if the president says, oh, renewed hope, the people under him, that architecture, how long does he want to take them, or will he probably take them to join the pace of his renewed hope? He might have it all in copy and he knows what he wants to do, but he cannot do it all. You can't be at 30 places at 30 different times. Somebody has to take the bull by the horn. So if they are not taking it, it will be pretty difficult.
David's been holding for a while. Good morning, David. You're live.
Sorry, we lost it.
Just to support what Dami said, the president, upon hearing this from media on Friday, directed the AG to review the treasonable felony charges, to review the charges. Yeah. Now, within the ministry, yes, the AG heads, but you have lawyers who work for the AG. Somebody showed face in the camera and said he's the prosecuting lawyer and insisted there's no minor. Even though the
I saw that video. I thought it was a
Hawks.
AI. I thought it was AI.
If you see the way he said it with the boldness on his face, shock catch me.
I had to rewind.
You would think he gave birth to them and he was sure of their date and age.
Their date of birth. That they are married men.
He said that there were no minors. Now, the system has leadership failure in every way you see it.
Yeah.
There's somebody at the custodial facility who would have seen these children being brought to court. What you could have done, rather than just swallow what the police told you, is take your time. Write and advise government. It doesn't mean that you're trying to remove somebody from office, but you know the way we think. You write, so what can I do? You go write something about her. You want me then sack me.
There's a rot everywhere.
Write and advise government. There are children in my facility I consider too young to be held within this facility. You write to government. With the police that arrested and reported to their superiors, the superiors could have sat down and advised the IG. We have children who have been arrested in this
process. Even if you don't write, Nyma, write to an NGO. There's a National Human Rights Commission. There are different groups you can actually write to. Say, listen,
I'm saying
I have minors here
in this facility.
Within the system. You know, we read one leadership book from one ex-civil servant. You know, those days, the way they used to think and they used to write a lot.
Let me pause you for a second. Alhaji Suba has been holding. I don't want to lose this call. Alhaji Suba, thanks for calling. You're live.
Thank you, Moralo. Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Thank you very much. You see, let me start from where Nyma talk. I want to corroborate, what Nyma said. I heard it from one radio this morning, that, the analogy in the North is that if you are poor, then it is being destined by God that you need to be poor. And if you are rich, it is being destined by God to be rich. You see, it's not like that in the Quran.
It's not like
I'm a Muslim, and it's not like that in the Quran. In the Quran, God says you should seek for knowledge anywhere. You understand? God does not say somebody should be poor. That is what is in the Quran. If some people is taking the opportunity of making some people Almajiri, is for them to be used. And this is the consequence. You understand? I remember, Sanusi repeated the consequence of the calamity of what the Almajiri, what is going to cause. He mentioned it. The same thing with our former president, President Jonathan. He talked about this Almajiri people. You understand? But the point is the leaders in the North, they are using these people because of this kind of issue. You understand? And I believe, let me tell you, none of their children, you will find none of their children in the midst of these children. You understand? They are using them for this kind of havoc. You understand? So it is not done, and in fact, it is the right time people in the North to wake up on that. As I said, knowledge. And Quran give us the opportunity to seek for knowledge. It does not say what.
All right, thank you very much, Alhaji.
So I was saying that, the system, you would have written to your immediate superior, at least there will be an evidence from your office that you called attention to an anomaly within your watch. Right within the system before you even go to NGO. Let us even see it. And now the matter is before a judge. A judge, for instance, has the powers to say, why is this case here? Call the prosecuting lawyer to get the necessary advice. And while that, you can call in your own personal opinion as stepping out of the law and say, these children, Why are they before my
place
court?
of compassion or sympathy.
Yes, let them be taken to the proper court. This can be handled administratively, or you can advise anything while you're with, detaining pending trial. Now, if the judge cannot even ascertain ages, 10 million naira bail that you were given, because of that, you will give a shorter date in your registry. Make sure that this matter comes before me next week. Not from August to October now.
Yes.
Do you understand? Not from August to October. If you have inkling,
the next one, I think it's January. I think
January.
Imagine
so,
that.
and this, obviously,
3
these
months.
boys will not get, these children cannot get 10 million.
we have to wrap up on this.
I like that the president has directed,
As waded in.
showing he didn't. This is not President Bola Tinubu's doing. It is Nigerians
It's the
who are at work,
It's the
desperately looking for a way to deter protesters.
Yes.
We have to wrap up.
Correction. What are these? How are we going to ensure that the time they have spent, what have they done in the time they've spent? They are the best prisons around the world that have actually achieved change. Focuses the time in prison, the time in detention, into education and correction.
Yeah.
So the focus within the time they've spent, if there is concerted effort, could have transformed those children. In 60 days, you can bring about, in 30 days, you can bring about transformation, exposing them to knowledge, investing in how they think, and making them believe there is hope for the future. That is what I would rather we spend the next few days before they are released, hopefully soon, doing to them, and create a system that ensures that somebody goes into the correctional facility, they don't come out the same way, they come out better than when they
I have
went.
to end with engineer Tijani. Yes, that's his message. It says, ignorance is not an excuse in the legal system, and that is the truth. We can choose to be hypocritical, but we all know the truth. Those who unleashed these children to cause mayhem should pay the bigger price, which we all agree. It's unfortunate that these children were not the architects of coming to this world or where they were born. Some people brought them to this world, and the society has failed them. We are gradually losing the future of this country to criminality, and this has to change. These children can be trained to be more productive, and we must turn their negative energy to a productive one for national growth. The issue should not be politicized at all, and it calls for a national sober reflection. An idle hand, obviously, is the devil's workshop. Let us keep them busy. I think that's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, move on to our next segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.